Morning, Bishop, and thank you for joining us today on the program. Let's have a more expansive look at this meet. Yes, we heard you say there that this is there are series of planned interventions that have been mapped out. Could you shed some light on that? Why did the committee think that it's necessary to have those meetings at this time?
Thank you very much. Good morning, Chamberlain, and thank you for having me. Essentially, we were thinking of more or less, should I say, dissolving ourselves because we were called the National Peace Committee for the 2015 elections. And we thought the elections had come and gone. What role do we still have? But I think we also needed to take advantage of the groundswell of goodwill. We had received all kinds of commendations from Nigerians who deeply appreciated what the committee had done. And we decided that we could follow through with that by, first of all, finding out from ordinary Nigerians how they felt, how they thought about what else the committee could do going forward. And as I said, in the process of that, we sounded out a few people, and we decided on this engagement. We reached out to the board, the boards of trustees of both parties, and we thought, we needed to know what they felt, because the business of governing the country belongs to politicians, and our business, as I said, is just to offer some moral direction, so to say, and to encourage the political class to get on with the business of governance.
Okay, you were quoted as by some papers as advising the president to focus on his job. What did you mean by focusing on his job?
Well, I have said this severally. The APC has come into power, to govern, and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, I think that everybody deeply appreciates, what the president is trying to do, the amount of diagnosis that needs to be done. But I think we need to get on with the business of governance, precisely because that is why the party was elected. We've been held back by all kinds of unnecessary tensions, and I think even the political class appreciates the fact that the international community, the world is waiting for Nigeria. Nigerians are waiting for, for a new nation. How we're going to go about this, what role we all have to play, all these things need to be very clearly spelled out. I think in fairness, there is a feeling of, I don't want to say anomie, but there is a feeling of uncertainty in the air as to where exactly are we heading for. And I think that the government needs to effectively develop a communication strategy that keeps Nigerians busy and busily focused on what it really will take us, to effectively change our attitude, so that a new nation can really and truly be born.
But how do you expect them to move forward if they do not have a proper assessment of what they have met on ground?
Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not a politician, okay? And the people who elected us, and like I said, people were elected, they weren't appointed. And there has been all kinds of anxieties about hitting the ground running and so on. Nature abhors a vacuum, and it is in the interest of the APC as a political party in power to map out how it hopes to engage Nigerians. We're over 3 months down the line, and I think definitely only a hypocrite can pretend that we are not anxious to have a sense of direction about where we're going and what exactly needs to be done.
Okay, Bishop, let me take you back to the job of the committee. Yes, you said you considered dissolving yourselves, but you thought it best to speak with the president first. But our guest, the first guest we had here, talked about reorientation, a mass reorientation. Should the committee be looking towards that angle, as in to reorientate Nigerians as regards putting the nation first?
Look, I've served thankfully and happily in many committees. One of the problems I realized with Nigerians is we're always looking for scapegoats. Hopefully, we can all confess our sins to a scapegoat and take all our sins away to the desert. The reality is that there's nothing new as far as what this nation needs to do. The laws are there, everything is there. And if we don't take time, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, we'll be whining and complaining about basically the same things. The committee is purely and simply, let me say, a source of moral authority. We're not going to replace the National Assembly. We're not going to replace the Supreme Court. We're not going to replace the courts. We're not going to replace the police. We are what you call non-state actors. Okay, and we're terribly, terribly busy people. Everybody wants to return to their job. I have no intention of leaving Sokoto, to fully engage in the work of the committee. General Abdul Salam is all over Africa, working for peace. And so the members of the committee are very, very busy people. Our business, and I think the most effective way of appreciating the work of the committee is if we become irrelevant. Let me put it that way. We weren't set up to solve problems. The politicians who asked us to vote for them are the ones who are saddled with the responsibility, which they begged, they pleaded, they cajoled, that we should let them solve our problems. So the business of the committee is not to solve the problems of Nigeria. It is the business of the government in power, led by the APC, to resolve the problems of Nigeria in whatever shape or form they come.
Yeah. So when you say that, there seems to be some uncertainty in the air, it would seem that what you're saying is that not much is being done that Nigerians can see.
Well, I mean, frankly, there is a limit beyond which you cannot remain, with the doctor just undergoing diagnosis. I mean, you are not going to end diagnosis, okay? By now, okay, we are going to wait till September before ministers are appointed. From what we hear, from what one is thinking, I'm not sure whether these ministers are going to come from outer space. They're going to be the same Nigerians with the same foibles, and so on and so forth. And I think that what we now really need to do, as the APC symbolizes itself by a broom, is to figure out how to tie all these loose ends together so we can effectively sweep this nation of the debt that APC said it was out to do. We need to see very clearly an assignment of roles, so to say. I think the media, civil society, faith communities, every individual needs to be told very fair, clearly and squarely what roles we are all going to play, to support the government. I mean, this is the best moment for Nigeria. We've never had it so good. The international community, Africa, the rest of the world is is waiting for Nigeria. And people don't have all the time in the world to wait for us. So all the goodwill that has been extended out to us, we need, in my view, to very quick, effectively and efficiently.
Do you think we're paying too much attention to the appointment of ministers?
Well, this is Nigeria. We operate by symbolisms, and with all the talk about efficiency and capacity and so on, every ethnic group, every religious group, every Nigerian is praying that there will be a minister that he or she knows, that is from their village, that is from their church, that is from their community. And if you don't know the minister, you know somebody who knows somebody who says he knows somebody who knows the minister. So, there is that anxiety that you have to deal with. As I said, the second thing is that what you really clearly need is a roadmap. You need to keep Nigerians busy. That's the only way you can keep out the mischief makers. We have got back, Boko Haram to battle. But we need very clearly something that keeps the rest of this country very, very busy.